The mantis shrimp can throw a punch faster than the human eye can follow. That is not a metaphor. That is physics. In the shallow reefs and sandy burrows of the Indo-Pacific, an animal no larger than a human hand has spent the last 400 million years perfecting violence, perception, and survival in ways that still confound modern science. It is neither a mantis nor a shrimp. It is something stranger than either. The peacock mantis shrimp, Odontodactylus cillaris, measures about 15 centimeters from head to tail. It glows. Vivid greens, electric blues, burnt orange euro, the coloring reads less like camouflage and more like a warning. This is an animal that has no need to hide. It has other strategies. Its primary weapon is a pair of appendages called dactyl clubs. These sit folded beneath its body, coiled like a spring, held under enormous tension by a saddle-shaped piece of mineralized chitin. When the mantis shrimp strikes, it releases that energy in less than 3 milliseconds. The club reaches an acceleration of 10,000 times the force of gravity. The speed of the impact euro, around 80 km per hour euro, generates a shockwave so intense that it can stun or kill prey even when the blow itself misses. The water surrounding the strike literally cavitates. Bubbles form and collapse in an instant, releasing heat, light, and a second burst of force. The prey is hit twice. Once by the club. Once by the collapse of physics itself. Aquariums have learned this the hard way. Mantis shrimp have shattered glass tanks. Multiple times. But speed and strength are only the beginning of what makes this animal remarkable. The mantis shrimp possesses the most complex visual system of any known creature on Earth. Humans have 3 types of photoreceptor cells euro, the cones that distinguish red, green, and blue. Birds have 4. The mantis shrimp has 16. 16 distinct types of color receptors, plus additional systems that can perceive ultraviolet light and polarized light in multiple orientations simultaneously. For years, scientists assumed this meant the mantis shrimp experienced a richer, more complex version of what we call color vision. The assumption was wrong, and the correction is even more interesting. When researchers tested mantis shrimp in behavioral experiments, offering rewards for distinguishing between extremely similar wavelengths of light, the animals performed worse than humans. Far worse. A human can distinguish 2 colors that differ by as little as 1 to 2 nanometers. A mantis shrimp, with all 16 receptors, could barely distinguish colors that differed by 25 nanometers. This is a paradox that took years to resolve. The mantis shrimp is not using its receptors to compare colors the way we do, building a rich spectrum through the blending of signals. It is doing something categorically different. Each receptor acts as a narrow filter euro, a direct sensor locked to a specific wavelength. The animal does not blend signals to interpolate color. It reads them like barcodes. 16 independent channels of information, processed in parallel, almost instantaneously. The implications are staggering. What the mantis shrimp loses in fine discrimination, it gains in speed. Its visual system can classify objects at a rate no human brain could achieve. In an environment where survival depends on split-second predatory decisions, it has traded palate for processing power. The eyes do not paint a picture. They compile a threat assessment. There are 2 broad groups of mantis shrimp, and they have taken radically different evolutionary paths. The spearers hunt soft-bodied prey euro, fish, shrimp, worms euro, impaling them on barbed appendages with the same blinding speed. The smashers, like the peacock mantis shrimp, target hard-shelled prey. Crabs. Clams. Snails. They are precision demolition tools wrapped in iridescent chitin. The dactyl club itself is an engineering marvel. It is composed of several distinct layers of mineralized material, arranged to resist the kinds of stress fractures that would shatter any human-made material after repeated impacts. The outer layer is extremely hard euro, among the hardest biological materials known to science euro, and the inner region is a helicoidal structure, a rotating arrangement of fibers that catches and dissipates crack propagation before it can spread. The mantis shrimp strikes thousands of times over its lifetime without destroying its own weapon. Engineers studying the club structure have found design principles that are now being applied to aerospace materials and impact-resistant panels. An animal we once dismissed as a colorful nuisance in the tide pools is teaching us how to build better aircraft. Beyond hunting, the mantis shrimp maintains a rich and surprisingly complex social life. Many species are monogamous, pairing for up to 20 years. They share burrows, raise offspring cooperatively, and communicate through an elaborate system of visual signals displayed on their bodies. Signals perceived in wavelengths of ultraviolet and polarized light that are essentially invisible to predators lacking the same receptor system. A private language, written in light that only they can read. They are also intensely territorial. A mantis shrimp that has built and furnished a burrow dragging shells and stones to create a fortified home will defend it with the same efficiency it applies to hunting. Ritualized fighting occurs, but it rarely results in death. The same animal that can crack a crab shell open like a walnut will often resolve a territorial dispute through a carefully choreographed display of force, each animal assessing the other's capabilities before committing to genuine violence. There is a cold intelligence to it. An economy. The mantis shrimp has been on this planet twice as long as the dinosaurs. It watched the Permian extinction come and go. It survived the asteroid. Reef systems have collapsed and rebuilt themselves around it. Its basic body plan has remained essentially unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. Not because evolution stopped, but because it arrived at something very close to optimal and saw no reason to depart from it. Everything about this animal suggests a kind of ruthless perfection. The weapon. The eye. The armored club that defeats its own material limitations. The social bond that extends for decades. The private visual language. Each system refined over geological timescales into something that functions at the absolute edge of what biology can achieve. And here is the fact that changes the shape of everything else: the mantis shrimp's brain is tiny. Primitive, by any vertebrate standard. No cortex. No complexity that neuroscience would consider remarkable. The extraordinary visual system, the tactical assessments, the pair bonding, the territorial negotiations. All of it runs on neural hardware that a human would outthink without effort. Which means the mantis shrimp is not intelligent in any way we would recognize. It is something else. Something that arrived at solutions we have only recently discovered, not through cleverness, but through the slow, patient arithmetic of survival across deep time. 400 million years of problems. 400 million years of answers. And almost none of them look like ours. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe for more incredible facts.